You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks tough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said. Boy, you got a friend in me. Yes, you got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. You've got troubles, and I've got them too. There isn't anything I would not do for you. If we stick together, we can make it through. Yes, you got a friend in me. Yes, you got a friend in me. Now some of the folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too, but none of them will ever love you the way that I do. Just me and you, boy. Well, as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. Yes, you got a friend in me. Yes, you got a friend in me. Yes, you got a friend in me.
Looking for me?
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome, everyone. That's Jason Goldstein on the piano.
Thank you.
And the vocals. He does both. He's not AI. Excuse me. So it's good to have you here with us this morning. Folks are still visiting on the other side. And man, it got biblical outside there all of a sudden. So I just always remember this song. The Lord said to Noah, there's going to be a floody. Get those kids out of the muddy children of the Lord. No? You never heard that one? So rise and shine and give God your glory. All right. I can see that's enough of that. So if you're joining us for the first time online for the Love Stream, we welcome you. My name is Reverend Dr. Michael McMorrow. I'm the senior minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, where we're coming to you live from the North San Fernando Valley. We are a faith community who welcomes all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. And so welcome. If this is your first time, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you don't have to miss nothing that we're doing online around here. Welcome to our new friend here visiting, and to all of our established friends. So we've introduced Mr. Jason Goldstein, so let's give him a little more love.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Musicians don't get enough love, believe it or not. And so help me welcome our wonderful Vinu Alag, our presider today. Always fun and inspirational. And doesn't she look amazing this morning? Yes. All right, so let's take a deep conscious breath and feel that exhale as we allow ourselves to settle into this moment, this eternal now moment, as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. And that fundamental to this truth is a unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Vinu lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here in our sanctuary, within our online community, and of course, within our own hearts. And as Vinu lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own soul. There is one flame, one light within.
Let's just stay here for a few moments longer, recognizing the one all that is, one source, one consciousness, one mind, one heart. Recognizing that we are united with this great divinity, united with all that is wisdom and clarity, joy, expansion, understanding, connection. Knowing that today's service unfolds in divine perfection, that everyone who needs to be here is here, that the right and perfect words are heard, that the right and perfect words are shared, that we leave here uplifted, expanded, open-hearted, open-minded, that this spiritual community adds a sense of greater and deeper belonging, greater and deeper connection to this world, knowing that there is no separation, no illusion, only connection, only love. I'm so grateful for the Center for Spiritual Living of Granada Hills, for each and every person here and present and online, for each person it takes to create this beautiful Sunday service. And it is with this full and grateful heart I release my word to the law, knowing it is all done, knowing it is all love. And together we affirm by saying, and so it is. Good morning and happy Sunday all. And congratulations to all of you who made it through the rain today. I know some of you are watching online on your cozy couches, and we're just happy to have you here. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Vina Walag, and I'm a practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. I thought I would talk a little bit today about the idea of slowing down. Now, this may seem a little paradoxical considering the holidays are upon us, right? And what comes with the holidays? A lot of doing. There is shopping and list making. There is cleaning and organizing. There is inviting, there's gathering, there's wrapping and gifting. There's a bit of frenetic energy in the air, if you ask me. This is kind of like low hum of people rushing around trying to get everything done, right? So it's actually the perfect time to consciously slow down. And I'm not talking about slowing down just because I'm exhausted or overwhelmed, which those things can be true. But slowing down as a spiritual act, a conscious choice to go within, a conscious choice to step away from that rushing current, right? To step away from that noise so we can get in touch with who we are right here, right now. When we slow down, something shifts. It may be imperceptible, but it's there. Vietnamese monk and peace activist Thich Nhat Hanh says, "Drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the earth revolves. Slowly, evenly, without rushing toward the future. Live the actual moment. Only this moment is life." What a simple image, right? Sipping your cup of tea, slowly, reverently. There is sacredness in that, taking it intentionally, not just rushing through it as something you need to do to get to the next thing. And we can do this in so many different ways. You might be saying, "I don't drink tea." Okay. You could do it with your coffee. You could do it with your glass of water. We can light a candle in the morning. We can journal. We can get in touch with our breath for a few moments. We breathe all day, every day. It's what keeps us alive. But when is the last time you actually checked in with your breath? When is the last time you felt the inhale, felt the exhale, and said, "Thank you. Thank you for doing that thing that keeps me alive," right? In her book, Wintering, author Catherine May reminds us, "Wintering is a time of withdrawing from the world. Winter is not the death of the life cycle, but its crucible. Doing those deeply unfashionable things, slowing down, letting your spare time expand, getting enough sleep, resting, is a radical act now, but it is essential." It is essential. Rest is essential. I'm not saying to stop. Some people think, "But I can't. I have too much to do." But rest is renewal. Rest is rebooting the system. It's honoring that this vessel is what allows our consciousness to express itself in its unique and perfect way. Without this vessel, there is no expression. And we have to take care of this vessel. And rest is a really important component to that. You know, I remember back, I think I was in my 20s or 30s, it was a while back, hearing this phrase that was really common back then, which was, "I'll sleep when I'm dead." I think a song made it really popular. And I actually wore that mantra really proudly. I thought sleep is for, people who have nothing to do, right? And I used that as a mantra to keep doing, to get it all done. But even scientific studies have shown how important sleep and deep rest is for our well-being. It no longer is a badge of honor to say, "I don't sleep, I just do." Because the thing is, we never get it done. There's no getting it done, right? Tomorrow, dishes will get dirty again. The bed is going to get unmade again. If you're an artist, a musician, a writer, there's more creativity to be had. There are sparks that will come up. So you can't say, oh, I've painted and I'm done, or I've written the song and I'm done, or I've done the dishes and I'm done. There's always going to be more to do. So why not let ourselves be a little more intentional in how the day unfolds? The science of mind reminds us time and time again that it is not through efforting and rushing that we connect to the divine within. Ernest Holmes tells us it is that still small voice that we hear when we go into meditation, into contemplation, into quiet. So I invite us all as we complete this day, enter this week, enter this season, that we take some time to find that thing that helps us slow down, rest, come back to the world rejuvenated and more whole. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Home for the holidays, 'cause I believe I've missed each and every phase. Come on and play one easy. Let's turn on every love light in this place. It's time I found myself totally surrounded in your circle. Oh, my friend, please celebrate me home. Give me a number, please. Celebrate me home. Play me one more song that I'll always remember. One that I can recall whenever I find myself too all alone. I can sing me home. Uneasy highway is traveling where the westerly winds can fly. Somebody tried to tell me this, but the man forgot to tell me why. I gotta count on being gone. Come on, mama, come on, daddy, and please, what do you want from me? Yes, I'll be strong, I'll be weak, I'll be weak. Please celebrate me home. Give me a number, please. Celebrate me home. Play me one more song that I'll always remember. One that I can recall whenever I find myself too all alone. Yes, I can make believe I'm never gone. Just let me know where I belong. And sing me home. Just give me a number, please. Just play me one more song, yeah. Finally here, I'm bound to roam. Please celebrate me home. I'm finally here, yes, I'm bound to roam. Please celebrate me home. I'm finally here, I'm about to roam. Please celebrate me home. Yes, I'm finally here, I'm about to roam. Please celebrate me home. Thank you, guys.
That was amazing. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. All right, we have a few announcements. Practitioners are available today in the treatment room for a 2-minute tune-up. If you're a licensed practitioner, please raise your hand. Oh, okay, so you can go to Reverend Kathy today. If you have anything you want a little boost on, any worries, concerns, you get 2 minutes to just, give you a little tune-up there. This afternoon, 2 online groups will meet at 1 p.m. For Law of Attraction LOA information, please email Emily at joyvibrations@gmail.com. And for Animal Kinship Group, contact Reverend Kathy Lyons at 818-983-7136. This Wednesday, November 19th at 7 p.m., our Tibetan Singing Bowl meditation will take place. Enjoy a peaceful midweek reset with our very own practitioner, Wayne McDonald. Love offerings accepted at the door. Save the date. November 26th, an Attitude of Gratitude Thanksgiving Eve service will take place here with our own Reverend Dr. Mike, joined by staff ministers and CSLGH practitioners. Come share your good. The Giving Blessing Bags, decoration, and donation table are up in Sparks Hall. Participate in our annual sharing of blessing bags to hand out to the unhoused by bringing in suggested hygiene items. Come decorate a bag in Sparks Hall throughout the rest of November and the first 2 weeks of December. We thank you for your participation in helping us bless this community. And now for our gratitude box. Barbara. I almost didn't recognize you there.
Okay, Annette picked it out for me today, and it says, grateful for friends who stand by me no matter what.
Will you please join us for the Declaration of Principles. We believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
Heaven's inside of me, yes, heaven's inside of me. Oh, the spirit in nature, within and without. Now that I know that God's right here, right now. Yes, heaven's inside of me. Heaven's inside of you. Yes, heaven's inside of you. Oh, the spirit in nature, within and without. Now that you know that God's right here, right now. Yes, heaven's inside of you. Yes, heaven's inside of us. Heaven's inside of us. Oh, the spirit in nature, within and without. Now that we know that God's right here, right now. Yes, heaven's inside of us. Heaven's inside of us. Heaven's inside of us. Oh, there's spirit in nature, within and without. Now that I know that God's right here, right now. Yes, heaven's inside of us. Yes, heaven's inside of us. Yes, heaven's inside of us.
Jason Goldstein, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Nice job as always. So today's talk title is in keeping with our theme for November. That theme being loving the unlikable. And today we're going to be looking at opinion, fact, or truth, and how that pertains to an octopus. Not. So in consideration for the theme, loving the unlikable, we turn to today's talk title for your consideration today, opinion, fact, or truth. Now, a talk title like this could pull your mind around like a piece of taffy, for sure. And in other words, could pull our thinking in all kinds of different directions, or at least I can see how I can do that with my own. So, in fact, considering the onslaught of information on any given day, one must stay on the alert of sifting the facts from the fertilizer, particularly on social media. So facts from the fertilizer, I got that from an AT&T commercial yesterday. So probably the only thing I like about AT&T right now. So yeah, facts from fertilizer, particularly on social media. So according to a study by UC San Diego, the average American consumes 34 gigabytes of data and information daily. 34 gigabytes, that's a ton of data and information daily. Now, the writer says that while this varies globally and individually, our capacity to process and assimilate knowledge far exceeds that of any previous era. Our capacity to process and assimilate knowledge far exceeds that of any previous era. Now, I don't know if it's talking about our own little noggins or about technology, probably speaking to both. So I was thinking about this for most of us in our lifetimes. We relied first on newspapers and magazines, then radio and television for the assimilation of information. And so the newspapers may have their biases and so forth, but the reporting worked to getting it right as far as facts were concerned. And in those days, that information was kind of a slow drip compared to the torrent of data that we are exposed to today. Now then, as now, not all information reaching us is accurate or truthful, particularly in an age that we find ourselves in today, that is now, particularly on social media, dominated by AI, artificial intelligence, and deep fakes, where opinions and falsehoods can easily masquerade as facts. So there's an interesting thing that I've been noticing going around, because I actually visit both conservative and liberal feeds because I like to keep the algorithm on its toes, right? What that means is that I get some crazy stuff coming over my feed sometimes on either side of the spectrum. But one of the things that it does is the people who are composing these, whether it's done by AI, I don't know how they're composed, but they frame it within reputable news sources. So in the beginning, you think that, oh, this must be true, and then you look a little closer, and and the framing is a little bit off, and the picture's a little bit not quite right, and because the head doesn't quite line up with the body and so forth. You know what I'm talking about, yeah? So the point is that opinions and falsehoods can easily masquerade as facts. Now, this era isn't new to that, so I was speaking earlier in the earlier service about how there was a photograph going around. So, you know, we sent out a few scientific probes to Mars, right? So the first ones we sent were doing these flybys and kind of mapping, a satellite mapping the surface of the planet. And one of the images that showed up was this human face. On the face of Mars, there's a human face, which is evidence that intelligent life was there. And then of course, that means that we probably came from Mars and that we're actually Martians thinking that we're Earthlings. And there was this whole thing that went around that. And then, of course, we sent more probes, not to that particular location, but we sent more probes there to do more scientific research and found that, yes, there was free-flowing water there. Yes, the probability of life there, we think now, is pretty high, particularly maybe even in the polar regions where there's still ice crystals. And as we understand that life can show up in many different ways, we know now, right? So there's life in volcanic vents within our own planet in these really dire, nasty conditions, right? They found life, bacteria in these pools in Yellowstone Park, these volcanic pools that are anaerobic bacteria. So we now know that life can exist in different ways, but not the kind of life that would take a bunch of dirt and put it into a mound and make it a human face, right? That in all the infinite possibilities out there for the planet Mars, rocks finding their way into a configuration that would appear to be a human face is certainly one of those possible things that could happen. So, my point in bringing this up is we observe a phenomena. So the truth is that there is this phenomena that appears to be a human face, but then there's all this other stuff that we tag on to it. So something that starts out as factual becomes a fake or a deep fake. So then, as now, not all information reaching us is accurate or truthful, particularly in this era. So the speed has moved from the limits of the printed page, as in the newspaper, to now how fast an influencer can get to their phone, right? So, and it takes time. It takes time to get facts. It takes time to collect facts. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but as a species, we tend to be an impatient lot. That humans are an impatient species. And so in a sphere lacking facts, opinion and belief often fill the void. Now, when we were kids, our parents might say, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Today we could say, if you can't cite your sources, stay off your phone. Now, I also want to point out, as we're exploring these ideas today, that I'm not speaking to any of the easy targets and the many targets that are out there in the political world, because all of these talk notes were done, 16 months ago, before any of this stuff was going on. It just happens to be the subject today. So I'm not speaking to any current political stuff. But certainly you'll be able to take it that place if you choose to. So having said that, it is still important to consider. It's still important to consider, what are we thinking? What are we thinking? And why are we thinking it? What are we thinking and why do we think it? Now, for the science of mind and spirit, we are concerned, this is important because we are concerned with the study and development of consciousness. The study and development of consciousness, both within ourselves, within the individual, and then in the shared consciousness, this world that we are creating together. And then as we understand the way the universe works, there's a co-creative process going on with something that is greater than we are alone as well. Alone as an individual, alone as our shared expression, that there's something even greater at work, at play here. So then it begs the question, how do we define consciousness? Right? Now, to me, consciousness, when I was younger, was a very loaded word. So consciousness was something that you talked about over a jazz cigarette and Dark Side of the Moon, right? So while you're sitting in your beanbag chairs. But how do we define consciousness? Now, from a scientific perspective, consciousness is defined as the subjective experience of awareness. Subjective experience of awareness, including thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions of the self and the surrounding world. So it's within and separate, that each one of us has a separate consciousness from the scientific perspective. It ties an individual to biological activity, that which can be measured, monitored, quantified, qualified. But this definition has its limits, and it cannot account for significant experiences in the human condition. For instance, we know now that the prefrontal cortex of the brain is the area of the brain that facilitates the ability to plan, to project a future based on past experience. We know that it's the area that also identifies patterns and then attaches meaning to patterns. So right over here at CSUN, Dr. Claire White, she has a whole course around this notion that religious thought actually came out of early hominids' ability to observe patterns and to give meaning to them. Now, this is an interesting concept. So the next time you get around an oak tree, like there's a bunch of them in O'Melveny or even Aliso Canyon, go check out the bark of an oak tree. You'll see all kinds of patterns and swirls, or just remember when you were a kid laying back and looking up at clouds, you know, when there were bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air. So we identify patterns and can attribute stuff to them that in other areas of the brain are tied to collaboration, the ways that we work together, which is actually turns out to be a very strong coping skill as we learn to do this in our ability to become the dominant species on the planet, if you exclude ants and roaches, of course. But and other places of the brain, right, where we know that are centers where we experience or express love. So how do we know this? Because the brain lights up in different places, right? There's bioelectric electric activity going on. So we can know that it happens. We can know where it happens, but we don't really know how it happens per se. For instance, could a scientist stimulate a particular part of the brain and then produce an awareness of Einstein's relativity or the like? Now, I can tell you with pretty much certainty, in my brain, probably not. In your brain, could very well be, don't know. But I think it's unlikely. Or to have to stimulate a part of the brain and have a particular person fall in love with us, like some kind of love potion number 9 deal, right? So it appears consciousness has levels of expression that we cannot account for. Consciousness has levels of expression that we cannot account for. Scientists cannot account for. Now, the scientist Roger Penrose, who's no intellectual lightweight. He is an actual quantum physicist. I think he's out of Cambridge or Oxford, one of those British places. He theorizes that there is a quantum component tied to consciousness, right, as in quantum physics, right, tied to entitlement theory, that quantum consciousness theory is a group of hypotheses suggesting that consciousness is a quantum phenomena rather than a product of classical brain processes alone. Now, why is this important? Because this ties us to each other. The other thing that I've often considered about this too, as an argument as to why we are in fact tied together, because our life evolved in this electromagnetic field also. So there really is a measurable field in which we live, move, and have our being. It's not all metaphor. That there is metaphysics on lighter levels that can, in fact, be measured in electromagnetic fields, electric fields for that matter. This is why it's important to wear tinfoil hats when you go to bed, so you won't be, right, okay, so. So proposed by scientists like Roger Penrose and Stuart Hamerhoff. So he's the anesthesiologist who was in the movie What the Bleep Do You Know? If you haven't seen this, check it out. It's a really interesting film. It suggests that consciousness arises from a quantum mechanical process such as superposition and entanglement. If you watch YouTube a lot, you've undoubtedly seen some of this stuff. For like in layman terms, which is helpful, and that they are occurring in microtubules in the brain's neurons. So we're talking about very small spaces, because a neuron itself is small, and we have some trillions of them that make up our brain, and it's the firing of this stuff and the electrical bioelectric activity that goes on between the synapses, the spaces between the neurons. This is the stuff that they're measuring in these various different parts of the brain. And now they even think it's a part of the whole biological body, that it's not just tied to the brain, that the nervous system, of course, extends from our fingertips to our toes and everywhere in between. And in fact, there's a field there that can be measured. So again, how do we account for these expressions of life that are not measured in traditional scientific ways? So these guys theorize that in this way, consciousness predates life itself. Consciousness predates life. So that means, predates life means, of course, that there is inert material expressing consciousness. And that's a jazz cigarette moment right there, man. So, in time, life then appears, life is conscious, and then life becomes conscious, first of its surroundings, right? First of its surroundings, and then in time becomes conscious of itself. Given more time, life as you, life as me, not only thinks, but thinks about thinking. So now here we circle back to what is it we think about? What is it we are giving our most attention to? Is it really serving our highest good, these things that we focus on? Why do we think? Why do we think the things that we tend to think about? So that, they estimate that the average human is thinking 60,000 thoughts a day, most of them the same thoughts we thought yesterday. That there's very little new thought going on. What are we thinking? Why do we think it? And what is the result of our thought? When we become mindful of the tendency to think certain thoughts. Mindful of the tendency to think certain thoughts with vigor, not the default thoughts. In fact, I would say in the beginning we become aware that there's a lot of thinking that we have not really reasoned our way into. A lot of opinions, opinions that we believe may be facts that tend to not be true. Now, what does that mean? If we can apply consciousness, our objective thought, our way of being conscious in our thinking around the thoughts that we choose to think about with vigor, vigor being strength, energy, determination. Now, this is the realm of the consideration of the study of the science of mind and spirit, right? And we go about this in a scientific way. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that if I do a spiritual mind treatment, I know that God is, that I am one with God. I'm knowing this truth for myself, that I feel a sense of gratitude of knowing that I am co-creating with His infinite power, and then I just release all of it to this activity of this field that I don't really understand. I might call it a quantum field. I might call it the field of mind. I may call it love itself. The thing is that I'm no longer hanging on to and grasping it, but releasing it with the sense of confidence that it cannot be returned to me without having been acted upon. This is essentially what prayer is by whatever name you give it, by whatever the practice. The wrinkle for us is that we're doing this in a scientific way, and what that means is that as I practice it this way, Vinu does it, Tom does it, that Phil does it, that Evan at the board does it, and they have a what? A demonstration. That our thought gives cause to an effect in this outer world. And this is what we are ultimately proving or demonstrating. So, our life then becomes the demonstration of the tendency of our thought. So if we are not experiencing the life that we want, then we must choose to think different thoughts, a new thought, if you will. This is what we're playing with. Now, part of that is the study and acknowledging opinion, fact, and truth. Opinion is as a personal belief, a viewpoint or judgment that is subjective, and it varies from person to person. And of course, that varies from people's individual experiences, emotions, perspectives, right? And it's important to know that we all have them. That opinions are like, oh, no, I better not share that one. Okay. So I believe that classical music is the most soothing genre, which I don't know if that's an opinion or a truth. I guess it depends on what movement you're listening to. Yeah, so a fact is an objective statement that is supported by evidence and can be verified as true or false, like water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at sea level. Now there is a qualifier there, and that is what? 100 degrees at sea level. So if you go up the mountaintop, it's going to boil faster than 100 degrees. So if you've ever been backpacking, you've experienced the difference between hot chocolate and warm chocolate, especially if it's cold. So now truth is the immutable spiritual truths and principles that we believe are universally valid and unchanging regardless of circumstances or new information. These truths often form the foundation of one's spiritual philosophical beliefs and are considered eternal and absolute. Now, even this is kind of tricky, I think, right? In this same way that we're, playing with the taffy again, right? Because one man's spiritual truth, one person's spiritual truth can be another's blasphemy, right? So you could make an argument that even though our intention is to honor all faith traditions by lighting a candle for each one of those, people who hold to these traditions as being the ultimate truth could take offense to the fact that we're lighting a candle for some other faith tradition. In fact, they may not even see it as a tradition. They may not see it as something cultural. So that's a big leap. I would offer that as a huge leap for someone in their thinking about how the spiritual aspect of life expresses itself. Right? The stepping away from God as a who to God as a what. That's a huge leap. And I think for many of us, it's kind of an amalgam of both. But even Jesus and his out of Acts, remember, what did he do? He breathed upon the apostles to do what? And said what? Receive the Holy Spirit. Right? That's the thing with the tongues of fire, and they all start speaking different languages and all that. You've heard that story before if you're familiar with it. So here he is, through that tradition, the Son of God, and yet he's putting like a different layer, a different kind of God, the Holy Spirit. What the heck's that all about? What I believe that to be is a lesson that there is a metaphysical aspect of life longing to express itself in this realm, right? But it's up to us to uncover and discover and then to utilize it in our daily life. So I could go on for 20 minutes, and there's a Seahawk game today, so we don't want to do that. So this idea, this is what I want to kind of nudge you with today. This idea of opinion, fact, or truth. So take a breath on that. It's a rainy day today. Maybe cuddle up someplace warm with a warm beverage. Just allow ourselves to consider the thoughts that we hold most dear and see if we can sift them as opinion, fact, or truth. But I think what's most important is to look at our life as it is currently expressing. And if there are aspects in there that are not demonstrating optimally in the way that you want to experience your life, what's got to change? What within our consciousness, our own individual consciousness, needs to shift in order that we might grasp a greater expression of life? What must be released? What needs the light of love infused into it? so that some new idea, some new thought can make itself known, so that we can be shifted and lifted into that next great expression, whether it's on the job, in our relationship with our beloved, our family, our spiritual community, our city, the planet. So consider these things today. And then let's get together next week and see how we did.
Day by day, day by day. Oh dear Lord, these things I pray, to see things more clearly, to love Thee more dearly, to follow Thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, day by day. Oh dear Lord, these things I pray, to see Thee more clearly, to love Thee more dearly, to follow Thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, day by day. Oh dear Lord, these things I pray, to see Thee more clearly, to love Thee more dearly, to follow Thee more nearly, day by day by day by day. Thank you, guys.
All right, Jason Goldstein, everybody. Give him some love on the chat if you're watching at home. Give him some love in the room. So let's ask Chloe to bring up the offering basket as we prepare to sing our offering song together. If you're joining us online, if you can take a moment to find your way to the donate button. For those of you who've come prepared with an offering in person this morning, just make your way to the basket as you will.
Spirit gives to me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives Spirit gives through you. Spirit receives through you. Spirit lives and breathes through you. Spirit lives and breathes through you.
Going within for a moment longer as we recognize this basket represents both the heart of the individual and also the receptive heart of this spiritual community. The heart, the generous heart of the individual who knows and knows that they know that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so now, as the spiritual heart of this community, we receive these gifts by whatever modality your generosity finds its way to the center, through online giving, through the mail, through the offering here this morning, that we know together that these gifts go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only this spiritual community, but anyone connected to this community in any way. And then from this place of gratitude, then we extend a blessing upon our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, that we know in some wonderfully crazy cosmic way. For the planet itself, that it is expressing itself in mysterious and wonderful ways. And to the extent we know this to be so, we see its demonstration in ways great and small that nudge us into ways of expressing more gratitude, more compassion, more loving kindness to each other, to ourselves, to each other. And this is what spiritual living is. So we embrace these ideas, knowing that they raise not only our own life, but the lives of those around us as well. And that's a good thing. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank our musician this morning, longtime friend, musical director. And let's get, you did pretty good, eh, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's good. She's strong. All right, so pray us out, please.
All right, let's just remain here for a few more moments longer, just basking in this oneness, basking in this knowingness, in this upliftment, in this contentment that I am one with everything and all that there is. Knowing today's service unfolded in divine perfection, that we leave here a little more uplifted, a little more expanded, connected to each and every person here today in this co-creation. And as we travel throughout our day, we leave with this extra support, extra buoyancy, knowing that this travels heart to heart, cell to cell. I am so grateful for today's service, for Reverend Dr. Mike, for Jason, for Evan, for Ian, and for each and every person here today. I leave with my heart overflowing. And it is with this full and grateful heart I release my word to the law, knowing it is all done, knowing it is all love. And together we affirm by saying, and so it is. Please join me in the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as the power, united all.